Hi everyone, happy Monday. Hope you've all had a great weekend. So this week we're talking about our sexual identity, our sexual orientation, and how it relates to our partners and how it works with our partners. So I know that this is a really heavy topic, a very hot topic for some people, and I want to speak about this from my perspective, of course, and for everyone to know that this is only my perspective, and I'm not saying that it should be anyone else's. But everything that I'm saying comes from my personal experiences, so it's real for me. So what I really like about talking about my orientation and how it works with my partners, especially with transition and through transition, is how gender and orientation bump up against each other, and how the way that we perform gender and the way that gender is understood in our society is how that fits in with expectations around orientation. So I'm going to kind of start backwards a little bit and talk about my partner's orientation and what kind of labels they use and that kind of thing. So my partner identified as lesbian before transition and had never dated men, and found community through the term lesbian and was pretty solid in that. And then sometime before we started dating, probably around the same time they started using the term genderqueer to describe their gender orientation, they started using the term queer because that felt more like home. And that is actually still the term that they use, and we use terminology like partner when we refer to each other, so that's not a gendered word. And sometimes my partner will call me their wife because we did get married, and that's a term that's fine with me. And then for me, my orientation, so when I remember when I was young, when I was a kid, I would talk to my mom about how I found people beautiful and how I found that girl beautiful and that guy beautiful. And so I didn't really think about things in terms of I'm supposed to like boys because I'm a girl. I just found beauty in people and liked those people. And to this day, it's still about the person and not about the body that the person is in. It's truly about that individual's soul that I'm attracted to. So I didn't really date until after high school, and I knew that I wasn't straight, but I didn't use any other terminology. I didn't use the term straight. I didn't use anything else either. I just was, and people assumed that I was straight. And this was because after I finished high school, I did have a serious relationship with a guy, and also because of my gender presentation. People assume because I look like a very feminine woman that I'm straight. And this actually continued even after I came out. People assumed that I was straight. Today, I mean, people assume that I'm straight. And I remember in college, I was interested in this woman, and I remember being told that I wasn't gay enough for her to date, whatever that meant. So there was definitely some assumption around my presentation and my orientation because of the way that I look. And so now I would say that I identify as a cisgender, feminine presenting queer woman, and I'm working with the term femme and really doing a lot of reading about it and really a lot of exploration within myself around this term, because there's a lot that appeals to me with the term femme, and I'm really curious about how it works today versus 50 years ago, and especially outside of a butch-femme dichotomy. So that's something I'm working with. Maybe I'll talk about that later. So with this week's topic, with our my sexual identity and how it works with my partners, I've been thinking a lot about, when I was thinking about this video and thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about my ethnic identity process as well, and that my queer journey has really paralleled my ethnic identity journey. When over the years I've really worked with being told what I am and what I'm not by society, by friends, and by the media. So similarly, how I live between worlds in this, gay straight world, and I live between worlds culturally as well. So my mom is Cajun, and she's from South Louisiana. And I was born in Louisiana, and my family still lives there. And so I grew up eating gumbo and dancing the Cajun two-step and listening to Cajun music, and that being my source of family and my sense of home. And my father is from Pakistan, and so, and I look a lot like him. I share similar features with him, dark hair, dark skin. So when people meet me, they often ask, what are you, where are you from, that kind of thing. And I know that question is never referring to my Cajun identity, that's referring to how I look. And so there's been a lot over the years around, saying, oh, I'm from Louisiana, and people saying, no, you know what I mean, where are you from? And sort of placing on me other expectations. And I think that happens a lot with gender and with sexual orientation as well. And so this has felt like a really parallel process. So the way that I feel about what I call my hyphenated identity, my Pakistani, Cajun, American hyphenated identity, hyphens that lie between those terms, I feel like no one can truly tell me what that identity is or what it should be. And it's my lived experience, and only I know what that actually means to me. And I don't feel that by identifying as Cajun Pakistani or Pakistani Cajun, I'm not honoring my father or I'm not honoring my mother, because I'm not identifying as solely one of those two, because who I am is truly something else. And so I really believe in this idea that we decide for ourselves who we truly are. And that's made me think a lot about how I want to honor who I am and where I am, and then also absolutely honor my partner and my partner's process and where they are. So we've had a lot of conversations about it, and we talk about brown identity and queer identity a lot. And my partner is, as an individual, very comfortable with me identifying as queer, and would not want me to identify as anything that I didn't feel comfortable with. And I know that for some partners, there's been discussion around, if you identified as a lesbian before and your partner transitions to male, if you continue to identify as lesbian, are you not honoring them? And I say that honestly, that's a conversation each individual has to have with themselves and with whoever they're in a relationship with. But for me, I feel that I have to truly define that for myself, and that it's not dependent on who I'm in a relationship with or who I'm sleeping with. And so along with that, I really feel that my queer identity, remaining queer and not changing that terminology to straight because I'm with someone who is trans, is really important for me personally, because it's a place from which I take action and I get involved politically and socially, and being involved in queer movements in my area and at my workplace is super important to me. And so because that's my lived experience, that's something I want to continue to honor, and I don't want to work on that from a place of allyship. I want to work on that from a place of identity, of who I am. And I would say also because I've dealt with issues around visibility and being seen by my community in the first place as belonging in this community, I'm sure it plays into my take on things. So I would say that overall, in this conversation, there's really room for talking about and maybe compromising over what terminology feels good for each individual in the relationship, but that I found in my experience it's really important to stay true to what my individual identity is, and that can continue to change outside of my partner's identity. So that's, I think, what I want to say for week 52, or sorry, week 53. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.